Welcome back to DC-Cember, as me and my guests, Velvetjoker and Patrick Palen, continue through the top 12 DCEU movies.
You will help them accomplish wonders.
All right, top 3. Looks like Man of Steel towers over Dawn of Justice and Justice League.
All right, so the one scene that gets me every time is when Clark goes into that diner and the trucker's kind of like a dick to him. And then he goes and wraps his truck around the thing. And I'm like, all right, Clark's kind of a dick now. I know that guy was being the dick, but now he can't feed his family. It's kind of fucked.
You're thinking about it the way James Gunn would, because James Gunn would probably be like, we're going to show you actually what this guy's job means to him and what the consequences are.
I give the 2 or 3 scenes that resonated badly. That, the thing with Pa Kent. Well, 2 things with Pa Kent. Number 1, he's like, oh, you should have let the kids drown. You're like, what?
Yeah, I am remembering what you're talking about.
And then it just felt like Clark could have saved his life. Like that, it felt unnecessary for him to die the way he died.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I feel like with the first thing, they're going for a more realistic take, although a bit darker in my opinion. But I feel like because, Jonathan wants his son to be able to do whatever he wants to do. Like, if he wants to save people, great. But he doesn't want him to either get caught or spend the rest of his life running from the government.
Well, am I remembering right that when Clark activates that ship that he finds, that's what alerts General Zod to the presence of Earth? I feel like you could look at it from the point of view that Jonathan Kent had a lot of wisdom still, right? And that he wasn't totally wrong in the grand scheme of things, in the sense of like, hey, there might be relatively small disasters here and there where you want to go in and save people, even if it means revealing who and what you are. But is it going to be worth it at this point in time for what it's going to do to the entire world when you do this? And then what we end up seeing is General Zod discovering Earth, right? After Clark actually goes out there and Zod tries to terraform the entire planet. So I don't know, like you said, like they were going for a more realistic take, but
I feel like with the writing of the story, it felt too Batman Begins-ish, where it's non-linear, where the character is somewhere out in the world trying to find himself and then figures out what he wants to do and comes back home. And then it's like, all right, things have just escalated, so now I really gotta suit up.
I had also totally forgotten about the whole beginning scene with Krypton and the big fight between Jor-El and Zod. That really kind of set an interesting tone for the movie. I thought that was one of the stronger elements, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah, because it was interesting to see not only how different they made Krypton compared to other movies, but also the relationship between Zod and Jor-El, like how they used to be friends, allies, and then become enemies, and it ends where Zod kills him.
Spoilers!
Oh, it's been 13 years.
it's crazy, man. I have this one sitting at number 4. So much good potential is the best way I personally describe this movie. Yeah, I can definitely see there being a lot of Batman Begins influence on it, more than a Superman movie really needs. But
yeah, because David S. Goyer is the writer for this movie.
Oh, that makes so much sense. I really liked Henry Cavill in it. I think it was a different version of Superman, much more cynical than what we're used to. But then I feel like reflected so much of the times. Again, like, tying it to the new Superman movie that we got with James Gunn.
Yeah, I agree. It's a very cynical thing where Clark's struggling to figure out what he wants to do. I mean, pretty much he had no choice because granted, because of him, going to the ship, Zod basically made his grand entrance before Superman could really make his official. So it's crazy how, like in this movie, Superman's day one on the job is alien invasion from his own people.
There's only one way this ends, Cal. Either you die or I do.
That did arguably paint them into a corner leading up to Batman v Superman, where they're like, okay, we committed to this realistic tone. If Batman's going to be in it, let's make that the reason that they fight, because now nobody likes Superman because he brought this invasion on us.
Yeah, which is one of the down points is that while the fighting is, of course, amazing, like they really showcase the full power of what Kryptonians can do and everything, but it feels a bit uncharacteristic of Superman laying destruction across several cities and stuff. Although I will defend saying that, this is Superman day one on the job, so he knows how to control his powers in regular situations, but in terms of how to regulate when it comes to fighting, that's a different story.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it really bothers me as well. You touched on that just now. That in all the iterations of Superman before that we've seen, when he's in these kind of crazy power situations that he doesn't know how to quite handle or he's not used to, he makes an effort to beeline it to another area so that his area is not destroyed. And that, like you said, felt really uncharacteristic of the character.
Yeah, because that did piss off a lot of fans, and especially for at the end with the Zod fight.
I do feel like the Superman fights in Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Justice League, not Justice League as much, but just there's some quality about the way those fights are choreographed and produced that is just really cool. And I feel like other directors try to go for that. When you have two heroes or two villains who can fly and fight, I feel like they do go for that maximum effect, but there is something about all the fight sequences in Man of Steel that, I don't know, maybe it just hit me at the right time when it came out, but every time I would see those fight sequences, I feel like I'm going to feel like debris and dirt, hit my face every time these guys are fighting, and I feel like it's going to fly at me from the TV. Like, it feels physically tangible. That's a quality I miss in a lot of movies where you have a character who can fly.
Yeah, it's just seeing like the shockwaves, how like they go across the cities to literally outer space and back. I will say this, I did kind of get what they were going for with Superman killing Zod, just because unfortunately the MacGuffin of sending them back to the fan zone, that was gone, and they can't just arrest him because unfortunately Kryptonite wasn't discovered yet. Otherwise, how else can you lock him? It's just going to be an endless fight until there's nothing left.
Well, I will now go back to Batman v Superman. One of the good elements of that movie was the very beginning when they were tying into Man of Steel, when Bruce Wayne has a building in Metropolis and it ends up getting destroyed. It was a great tie-in to the Man of Steel movie, and I think one of the better parts of that movie.
Yeah, in Man of Steel, we definitely see people's reactions to some of the destruction caused, but it definitely had more of an impact just to see Batman see it from his perspective. He definitely does not deal with loss very well.
Or at least not that version of Batman where he's in this season of life where he's like, enough is enough.
I always laugh when people have said that when Superman Returns came out, fans were like, it's just the same thing. Let's see something different. Well, with Man of Steel, we got something different, but now they're like, too different. Let's bring back the classic.
Yeah.
There's always the part that's never going to be happy.
The way I look at it more and more now is you have the people who are a fan of that thing, and then you have people on the internet. I try to be optimistic and assume that when other people are like just laying lots of hate on a Superman movie or Batman movie, the people who have issues with the movie but are going to be more calm about it and reasonable about it, those are probably I don't want to say the real fans, but those are probably the ones who are like the fans of those characters. Because like if I'm a Seahawks fan, right, I'm not going to be like, well, I could crap on the team all the time, but I'm not rooting for them to lose, So there's people on the internet, and then there's fans, and yeah, we all have equal voice on the internet. That may be good or bad. So
Ain't that the truth?
Krypton had its chance!
Thanks for watching today's episode. If you enjoyed the commentary, be sure to check out my guest podcast channels. Click the links in the description box to find out more details.